another good season in softball. They are able to win the district title on the last game of this season. I'm joined by their head coach, Moe Fritz, and Coach, a great game against McKinney High to end the year. We're going to go ahead and start with that because it's not often, and especially in softball or baseball or any of these sports, that you'd play up to a 12-inning game with both teams have playoff implications on the line, and you're able to get it done in the 12th inning.
Yes, it was exciting. It was a fun game. Definitely never planned a 12-inning game. I thought it would go differently that night. Our hitting was lacking, and they played defensively really well. Their pitcher threw well, I thought, so yeah, it was. I think people there got their money's worth. The fans, it was exciting on both sides.
McKinney needed that win to get into the playoffs. You needed that win in order to have a tie for first place in the district, and with the tiebreaker over West, you would have the district title. And you have two pitchers going up against each other that were both players of the week in the Dallas Morning News. So it was a big-time atmosphere. Eventually, what was it that allowed your team to win that game?
I think just consistently at the plate, just trying to make something happen. And I think, getting back to the top of the lineup with Moe McDonald and Cassandra Heller with 2 outs, them getting on, I thought that was exciting and important for us. And when McKenna Henry hit him in, you just felt like it was going to eventually happen. Though we'd been in situations where we could have scored earlier in the game and finished it off earlier, you just knew it was going to eventually happen. The kids were going to get their bats going, and it did finally. So it was very exciting.
Looking at Erin Riding's stats for this season, it's really incredible what she's been able to do. These stats I think, are going into the McKinney game, where she has 260 strikeouts to 60 walks. So that's an unheard of ratio. To get 260 strikeouts, I think that leads the area in strikeouts among pitchers. What is it about Erin that makes her so effective?
I just think that she's matured so much this year. She's so focused, and she's in a zone when she's out there, and she's dominating, and she knows she's dominating, and she continues to dominate. She knows she has the defense behind her, and I think just the year of maturing and being even better than she was last year, and she was very good last year, so she's definitely outstanding. I think that's almost double. I think at least 100 more strikeouts than she had last year.
And she's a sophomore, and obviously you're focused on the playoffs right now, but moving forward into the next few years, she can get even better, and the potential has not yet been realized with her.
That's true, and she will. She'll continue to get better and better. So I know this district is probably wishing she were a senior this year, but it's exciting for Boyd that she has another 2 years.
Now, she's had a couple of different catchers throughout this year because you had an injury to your starting catcher, Maddie Van Hagel, and so you have another catcher coming in Cassandra Heller that has done a phenomenal job hitting-wise as well as behind the plate.
Yeah, just hats off to Cassandra. She did an awesome job stepping in when we needed her to. Maddie did break her thumb and was out for 6 weeks, and Cassandra just, anything we asked her to do, she did, and she did an amazing job behind the plate. So just very flexible and great kid.
And your team has really been hit by the injury bug overall this year, so you've had a lot of players like Cassandra that had to step up and play positions they're not necessarily accustomed to.
Definitely. I mean, we've had, shoulder issues, knee issues, we've had concussions, we've had broken fingers, we've had, sicknesses. When I think I have a kid, then they're out sick for a few days with strep, and it has been beginning with West. I mean, we had basically, besides Maddie, we had our starters, and then I lost Jalen Douglas to a knee, an ACL, and then again I lost Delaney Neal right after she came back. I guess I had her back maybe three weeks and lost her again. So both of those are out for the year, and my kids did a phenomenal job of stepping in. I had outfielders on the infield, outfielders with Cassandra behind the plate. Now Cassandra's at second base, so very versatile, and definitely the kids have persevered, and going through all of that, I think, has made us even stronger as a team. So we've done that well with what we've had to deal with all the injuries, I just know that we're going to continue to be stronger and stronger each week we play.
One of the real advantages you have as a coach, especially in some of these games, is the amount of speed you have on the base paths. You have both Moe McDonald and Jill Nicholas. That Moe, I think, is just approaching or just got over 20 stolen bases on the season. Jill is up there at 26 stolen bases. So in those top spots, especially in the order, you're able to get the runners on base and move them over so quickly, and that's not necessarily a weapon that all teams have.
Yeah, that is definitely one thing that I love doing is the base running. That is the offensive part of the game that I just am intrigued with and am passionate about. And so, yeah, I'm going to steal Moe. I'm going to steal Cassandra. I'm going to steal Jill. I am blessed that we have that speed. And, I'll steal some of the other ones that people don't think that we'll steal. So I do like running the bases a lot, and we'll continue to do so.
How do you balance the aggressiveness with trying to steal bases and also at the same time trying to make sure you don't get a needless out for your opponents?
That's a great question. I question myself after I do some things, and I make some comments to my coaches. Am I being too aggressive? Am I taking us out of situations? But they just reaffirm that we're going to continue. That's who we are. We're going to be aggressive. So there are some situations that I feel like I have possibly taken us out of scoring situation or making a difference in a certain game, but I take my chances. I think 95% of the time I'm going to be right on it, and the 5% I learn from.
On district championship, I think it's worked out more often than not. You're going to the playoffs now, going up against W.T. White in the first round. You still haven't decided yet what type of series it's going to be and where it's at. That's going to take place later today.
Yes.
But what do you know about W.T. White and what can you expect in that first round matchup?
I will tell you the truth, I don't know a whole lot about W.T. White. I do know they're fourth in their district. In their district, we have played in it the last couple years. It isn't as strong, obviously, as our district, so it'll be a little bit different. Sometimes that can be a challenge in itself. When you're playing at a certain level, sometimes having another team play up to you is different. Sometimes you fall down to them. So I just want to keep our level of competitiveness and our expectations high, and when we go out there, we just dominate. I am looking for a 2 out of 3 series. Obviously, they're looking for 1, so we'll know that later on today.
And then you obviously, as a coach, want to coach it one game at a time, but you do have to peek a little bit at the playoff road looking forward. Last year, you lost to Temple in
Right.
the playoffs, so this year, you obviously want to eclipse that regional quarterfinal spot. How do you like your draw that you've gotten?
I'm excited about it. I think we're going to do really well. And I think going that far last year with the kids I had, I started 5 freshmen in that last game against Temple. So just the experience and the where we're at and the maturity and just having those kids already back. I have all returners on the field this year. So it isn't like we have new kids learning it and plus on top of that, we played at Baylor Stadium. So that in itself was pretty overwhelming, I think, just walking into that. So kind of getting that on top of the freshmen and then Temple being so loud and exciting and competitive, I think was a little shock for us. I think we're a lot more prepared this year, so I definitely see us going deeper in the playoffs and making the regional finals.
Especially in district play, you're used to playing it in the same fields, the same stadiums throughout the year. How much of a factor is it where you play and what kind of field, what kind of boundaries there are in the playoffs?
Well, I like playing it. Like last year, I really like playing at bigger stadiums or at college stadiums, so they get the feel. When we get to state, it's overwhelming if you haven't been a part of something that's a little bit bigger than your local high schools and playing there. So I definitely think that that's something, if we can get to play it at a facility like Sam Houston or Baylor again, I want to be able to put the kids in that situation so they can persevere. And then when we get to state, be a little bit more comfortable with the situation.
And finally, one thing I wanted to touch on is the seniors that will be graduating and who are you really going to miss from this team? And also anybody that's going on to college to expect bigger and better things continuing maybe their softball career.
Yes, we have one senior, Moe McDonald. Definitely going to miss her. I've been here 4 years. She's been here 4 years. We've been through a lot of things. She's a wonderful young lady who has definitely put her stamp and her mark on Boyd softball. She is going on to play softball at Independence College, and so yeah, she'll go on to a 4-year school after that. I know she will, and she'll do great.
She's been such a vital part of your team for the last 4 years playing with you. But it's only going to be one piece that you're going to miss going into next year. So, you're going to try and take this run as long as you can. But
right.
even next year, you probably are thinking about, well, if I can't get to state this year, or even if I do, maybe I can repeat the next year. We'll see
right.
what happens.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, we're still considered a young team, and that's really exciting because they're as good as they are right now. They just get better.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck in your playoff run.
Thank you.
As Moe Fritz with the McKinney Boyd softball team, and they're going into the playoffs taking on W.T. White later this week.